Hello all and welcome to another Tuesday Thunder playthrough with me, Rangy Rover. This week we're in the DTM92 Mercs at Circuit Zolder. This is me at the moment in the green Dables Alt Mercedes. Apologies, I've just noticed that you can hear Z1 Analyzer give me the ding and the gear changes, so just have to let that get on your nerves for the rest of the playthrough. I like this circuit. I do enjoy it. I think it's terrific fun. That chicane there is an absolute suspension eater if you're not careful. Although we're lucky enough on Tuesday Thunder to be playing without any damage. And this section here, coming out of here in third, trying to keep as much power down as possible. You can see I'm slightly off the throttle, keeping it pinned. A little waggle on over that hummock there. This corner here is my nemesis. I never quite seem to get the power down right on the way out of it, not without spinning at least. We're coming up to the stadium section. On the brakes, clip both curbs and over the sausages, and we're coming up to the line. You can see that I manage a 36.6 here, and we're going to compare that lap with Damon in slow motion. Here we've got Damo on the bottom in the main pane, me in the top left, and we're coming up to the first corner. You see, I'm probably on the brakes just a little bit earlier. Damo's trailing it a lot less than I am, but he definitely hits the apex earlier than I do, but he's carrying a bit more speed. I'm able to get pretty much flat back on the throttle in fourth. He's had a little bit of a wiggle there, trying to get it to take it, and he's run a bit further wide. Neck and neck though, on the way through here. You can see coming through here that he holds it in fourth, then comes down into third to try and make it rotate, and I hold it in fourth and indeed put it into fifth to try and attempt to get some traction down through the apex of the corner. Then back into fourth, and he's in third here. He's throttle is a little bit on and off as it's coming through there. Now you can see I'm pulling out a slight advantage, only slight, but a slight advantage through this section of the course. Now we're coming up to this corner, which is absolutely crucial for setting yourself up for an overtaking opportunity at the chicane ahead. On the brakes, into fourth. You're steering with the back end of the car here. Brake bias for me is 55. I jump back onto the throttle in fourth. You can see Damo's had to come out of it a bit because he's busy counter steering to sort the back end out, and then he's jumped back on it in fourth. And I've got a small advantage on the way down into the chicane here. On the run down into the chicane, I think it's really important that you kind of take your punishment on the first curb of the chicane, so that your car's not disturbed when you're wanting to get on the throttle on the way out. And if you watch Damo's car, you can see he gets a bit of a wiggle on, because he takes a bit more of the second curb than I do. Both on the brakes hard. I think I'm just a little more, taking a bit more of this curb. It might be difficult to see because of where the panes are. Oh no, maybe not. Yeah, I'll take a bit more of that curb, but get less of this one. And you can see Damo's still flat out, but he's having to do quite a bit of work to catch it there. Catches it, he does. And we proceed down to the next chicane. Something I find interesting coming down here, I'm not quite sure why. If you watch Damo's throttle input on the way down here, at some point he comes off it. I think it's because he didn't want to change up into 6th maybe, but he's just off it here at this apex. Just a little bit. We're both deep on the brakes here. Have to run it over these first sausages. We both do that. Car's bumping and weaving. Small input on the way through. Get it turned again for the left-hander. Pull out of there in 2nd. And for me, it's a short shift to 3rd on this apex, and it is for Damo as well. We're both putting a big input in here. Damo's had to come out the throttle a little bit, probably because he doesn't want to run off the track. It seems that I did and got away with it. And we're both just back out of 4th a little bit here, just to make sure the car makes it and doesn't run out onto the curb on the next section. See, Damo's had a little bit of a wiggle on there. There's a lot of steering input there to keep it straight from him. And you'll note that I do in a minute coming over this brow. Major wiggle on from me. A lot of steering input where Damo's car's pretty steady on the way in. Now this corner I said was my nemesis, and I mean it. Never seem to quite get it right. You can see we're both on the anchors into this corner, using the car to slow us. Now Damo's a bit more aggressive on the gearbox. He's stuffed it down at 2nd, and it doesn't work for me that. I can't control the car, make it turn at this point. He's got a lot more steering lock on than me, and then immediately a lot more opposite locks to enable him to get back on the throttle in 2nd. Something for me to learn there, I think. But we're neck and neck coming up here. Like I said, very different styles of achieving this this lap from both of us. Be very interesting to see how we go on the way out of this corner sequence on the way into the stadium. So I'm on the anchors a little bit before Damo is. Coming down through the box, I'm into 3rd. Yeah, we're but oh no, Damo knocks it into 2nd. Look, to take that corner. I don't knock it into 2nd until the apex of the corner. And then over these sausages, big input of throttle as much as you dare. You see I'm fighting a bit with the steering there, but I've got a big lump of throttle on, keeping it in a straight line. And as you come up here, you can see we're utterly neck and neck. There's very little in it. I think he probably had the better of that corner section. And if that was this was a race situation, he'd be getting the run on me to this corner, I think, slipstreaming in particular. So I just make it, and he's 40 thousandths later, which is amazing. Very different ways of getting there then. So this is me in the main pane now with Damo on the top left. Try and see the differences, or illustrate the differences on the way through. So yeah, it seems he's actually on the brakes a bit earlier, but I'm probably more substantial lumper brakes. So I'm probably slower, I would suggest, by the apex, which is probably why I can give this big input of throttle in 4th, where Damo's just a bit hesitant. You can see on the way out. Yeah, and he takes a bit more curb than I do. So coming up here, I actually take 5th very briefly. He stays in 4th. Then I knock it back down in 4th to get it rotated. And I think Damo knocks it into 3rd to try and get it some more as well. I stay in 4th. Indeed, I put it into 5th. Here you can see I've actually got half throttle on at this point. I'm trying to give it some input. And then knock it back down into 4th. Full throttle to try and get it rotated and off this curb on the left hand side, and I manage it. Keep it pinned all the way through. As you can see, I'm a good chunk ahead at this point, and I think Damo probably spends the rest of the lap catching up because we're neck and neck at the line, which doesn't bode well, because if he fixes this for the race, he's going to kick my ass. So into fourth for this corner. Bit of trailing throttle on from me. Come off it when I get on the curb and then back on it, because the car's going to rotate when he's on the curb. You see Damo's got a bit of opposite lock on there, trying to get it under control on the way out. And we're heading down into the chicane. This is a real overtaking opportunity if you've had a good section previously, particularly if you managed to slipstream it. But you've got to be pretty brave to take the inside. There's going to be tears here, I think, on Tuesday Thunder with people not wishing to yield. There's really only one car pathway through this chicane. You can see I'm full on the skids here. As I said in the previous lap, I'd probably take a bit more curb at this point. Yeah, probably a good bit deeper than Damo there, but I have less curb to take this time on that curb. And you can see the difference here. Damo's back end wagging. He's still pinned. Back end's wagging. He's losing a little bit of time while it's doing that. On the way down into the next chicane. As soon as the corner straightens up, I pretty much keep it pinned until it straightens up, and then I'm on the anchors to make this corner. Try and get as far left as you can. Throw it into it. Take those sausages. And a bit of a throttle input here. Once you come out of that corner, I'm on it in second. Short shift to third on the apex. See, I've pretty much got it pinned there. Take quite a lot of curb and a bit of the grass. Damo's in the same position. He's catching me here. He's had a better section there. But you see, he takes a good chunk of throttle off to get through here, where I'm a bit more progressive, and I take a bit more curb on the way out. He's got quite a lot of steering input in at this moment, and as I come over the brow, I'm going to have a whole lot of steering to put in, because he's not very happy at me. There we go. Car's wagging at me, so I'm losing time on the way down here. Onto the brakes for this corner. Only into third to slow me. Damo manages to jack it into second. Like I said, it doesn't work for me. I tend to spin out if I do that, so I keep it in third round here, and with some throttle on, but then when I'm confident that it'll take it, I put her into second, and away we go. And I'm ever so slightly ahead here, but I think he's had a much better section through there. He's catching me all the way to the line, I think, in fact. So we're going to come up to the stadium pair of corners. Again, you've got to take the curb and a bit of the sausage to make it work. You're going to see it's not too happy about that. It starts to pitch. So deep on the anchors here. Again, a bit of trailing throttle from me. That's to prevent the engine from making the back end step out. You see, I'm on the gas a bit more there. I have to come off it. Damo's on it flat, and then he comes off it. I'm on it earlier here. I'm on it in second, he's on it in third, so it's taking a bit longer for it to pull for him. Then I change up. Very little in it, but it does look like Damo's had the better exit there, because when we get to the line, there's nothing. So I think you need to look at Damo's way of getting out there as being the better way, coming out of it in third rather than coming out of it in second. Well, you can see that's super close between us, and that's been another Tuesday Thunder run through with me, Ranger Rover, for Oz NZ Sim Racing.